Hello lovelies, welcome back to Alakege YouTube channel. In today's show, I'll be learning how to make this princess that Bustier. If you're interested in learning how to make this, please continue to watch this video. If you're new here, please kindly subscribe. And to all my subscribers, thank you very much. I really appreciate your support, your comments, your like, your subscription, your shares. Thank you very much. So to start off, I have my pattern paper on the table already. I've already taped it down. So I will be marking my dimensions. So I'll be marking my shoulder to the nipple, shoulder to the underbust, and shoulder to the waist. My shoulder to nipple is 11 inches, shoulder to underbust is 14 inches, and my shoulder to waist is 16 inches. So, and those are the lines that are marked there, and I'm just going to label it BP is the bust point, that's the shoulder to the nipple, underbust is the UB, and WA is the waistline. And the next thing I'm going to measure is half of my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 7 inches, so it's 14. So 14 divided by 2 is equal to 7. That's why I mark 7 there. And right there, I will come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope. And after coming down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope, I'm going to mark my armhole measurement. My armhole measurement is 7.1. To calculate the armhole measurement, you're going to divide your bust by 6, and after dividing by 6, you're going to add 1.5. So whatever you get is your armhole measurement. And right there, I'm going to square down that line, and that line will serve as the chest line. If you're watching my video, you just know how we do that. So the next thing I'll do now is to mark 7 inches on the chest line. That 7 inches is half of my shoulder measurement. And after marking the 7 inches right there, from when we come down for the shoulder slope, I'm going to connect that line together like so. So, and after doing that, the next thing I'll do is to mark the neckline, the basic neckline. So I'll be using 3 by 3 for my basic neckline. If you're working with a plus size measurement, you can use 3.5 by 3.5. And after marking cuffing the neckline, I'll just go ahead and connect from the neckline down to the shoulder slope where we did earlier. And after that, the next thing I'll do is to mark the length of the armhole right there, and I'm just going to look for the midpoint. On that midpoint, you're going to go in by 0.75. This is what you're going to use to create the armhole for this. This coming in by 0.75 will help to eliminate any kind of folding around the armhole area. So once you do this, you won't have any folding around your armhole area like that. So I've already created my armhole curve like so. So the next thing I'll do is to measure half of my bust span. My bust span is 7 inches, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark half of my bust span right there from the center of the paper. So my bust span is 7, so 7 divided by 2 equals 3.5. That's why I'm marking 3.5 on the waistline, on the underbust, and also on the bust point. I'm just going to connect the line together like so. And from there, I'm coming down by ½ inch. You can do 1 inch or ½ inch, or even connect your dart straight to the underbust. So the next thing I'll do is to calculate the amount of dart I'll be taking in. This is a bustier, and we need to create the cup for the bustier. This is bustier. So there are different methods, and I have a video on where I showed us different methods that we can use to create a bustier. So, but I'll be using one of the methods there. This is my favorite one, where this one creates enough cup for the bust. And the method is you're going to minus your bust circumference minus your underbust circumference. So mine is 34, so 34 minus 28 equals to 6. So, and then that 6 you're going to divide it by 2. That means whatever you get, just divide it by 2, and that's the amount of dart you're going to take in. For me, since I have 6, so 6 divided by 2 equals to 3. So the amount of dart I'll be taking in will be 3 inches. So now I'm going to divide that into two. So from the center front there, that other side there is smaller, you're going to take less there. So that's why I'm taking 1 inch on that side, and on the other side, that's it, to the side front, you're going to take more, and that's why I'm taking 2 inches there. That's why I mark 1 on one side and 2 inches on the other side, and I'm just going to connect that to the under bust. So after connecting to the other bust, I'm going to take my curve ruler and use it to connect it to where we come down by 1/2 inch, or you can do 1 inch, or even connect it straight to the under but on the bust point line, depending on how you want to do it. So this is my favorite contouring method. I mean, this is so beautiful. So the next thing is to measure the shoulder line like I'm doing right now. So you're going to measure it and divide it into two. Whatever you have there, you divide it by 2. So you're going to mark that midpoint and connect it to the line on the bust point. Just connect it like so. We're going to be using this line. This is where you're going to be transferring our dart later. So now, before we do that, I'm going to divide my bust circumference divided by 4. My bust circumference is 34, so the divided by 4 equals to 8.5. Then I added 2 inches for sewing allowance there. I'm adding allowance on this pattern paper. So on the bust area, I've already taken in 3 inches dart. So I'm going to add it to my on the bust measurement, because the dart to be taking it off. So my under bust measurement is 28. So 28 divided by 4 equals to 7 inches. Then plus 3 inches that we've taken in for that. That's why I mark 10 inches there. And plus 2 inches for that allowance, for the sewing allowance. That's why I mark 12 right there. So make sure you always minus your dart intake, because that dart intake will be cut off. For you not to have shortage of fabric, you need to remove that and add it back to your measurements. So that is that and that. So after doing that, after rolling that, the next thing I'll do is to take my bust dart. My bust dart measurement is going to be the difference between my front length and the back length. My front length is 16 inches, while my back length, half length, is the waistline is 14. So that means I'm going to do minus 16 minus 14 equals to 2 inches. So the length of your dart, your bust dart, will be the difference between your front length and your back length. So for me, it's 2 inches. Yours might be 1 or 3. I have videos where I explain in-depthly on the reason why we take bust dart, so please check out the video. So right here, I'm just trying to increase the dart to do the dart leg, like just to raise it out. So this is optional, so I'm just trying to do this, but this is really optional, and it's not even worked like that, because I've added a lot of allowance there, and this make this to shorter. So this is optional. You can raise that leg, or you may not even raise it. Just have enough paper by this side, because once we close up our dart, we're going to be having shortage. If you have been watching my tutorial, you're going to know that this is just the. So right now, I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the excess paper that I have there. I'm going to slash through my darts. So I'm going to slash through the dart right there. And by the side too, I'm going to cut off the pattern paper left right there by the side, and also around the just watch the way I'm cutting my pattern paper. Please make sure you don't cut through your pattern. So I'm going to cut the neckline off. So by the side now, I'm going to close my bust dart. So I'm just trying to close it off like so. So I'll cut off the pattern, the bust dart, in order to close it. Can you see it? This is it. So the bust dart is what you're going to be transferring to the shoulder dart. So that's why I'm cutting off the bust dart first, and I'm just going to tape it down. We are closing it off in order to transfer it to the shoulder. So I'm just trying to tape these together. Now, just like I mentioned earlier, that once we close our bust dart, we're going to be having shorted on the side. Can you see the shorted by the side? Then we're going to be filling it up later. So right now, I'm just slashing through the shoulder line that we made earlier. So this is automatically, once you open up the shoulder line there, it's just going to transfer the bust dart that we've taken in to the shoulder. Can you see? So we've transferred the bust dart to the shoulder dart, just like that. And here we have our bust dart princess Bustier. So this is just simple of how we make it. So the next thing is, since I have shorted by the side there, and I've already cut off the excess paper that I have, I'm just going to fill up the side by adding extra paper to the side, like so. This is just norm that once you close off your spots, that your pattern paper is going to reduce by the side, so you need to fill it up, or you leave excess paper by the side. This is norm, so there's no need to worry. Once you have shortage by the side, just fill it with another pattern paper. It's just happen like that, and once you are doing your pattern drafting, you're just going to know that this is just normal to happen. So this is our front pattern right here. I'm just going to just make sure my pattern paper, so I'm going to write my annotation. So this is the center front and this is the side front. Make sure to always label your pattern paper. It is very important to label your pattern paper. I'm just going to write my instructions on the pattern paper. This is the center front, you're going to cut and fold. This is the side front, you're going to cut 2 pieces. So that is all for the front pattern. If you have any question, please let me know in the comment section down below. So now I'm going to start off with the back by measuring my chest line. To get your chest line, just measure your chest line on your front pattern. Just measure from your shoulder to the chest line on the front pattern, and whatever you have there is what you're going to mark right here on your pattern paper for the back. And also I mark my shoulder to the waistline for the back. So my shoulder to the waistline for the back is 14 inches. That's why the front length and the back length is different, and we're going to take the bust dart. I have a video where I explain in depthly. I'm going to leave it in the comment section. Leave the link. So the next thing I mark right here is the 1 inch for the zipper allowance. We're still going to be making some alterations, so let's leave it at this 1 inch for now. So the next thing I'm going to mark right now is the shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 14, so 14 divided by 2 equals to 7, and from there I come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope for the back. The shoulder slope for the back is 1 inch compared to the front, which is 1.5 inch. So now I started my measurement from the new line, so make sure you do that. So now on the chest line, I'm going to mark half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7 inches, and I'm just going to connect it straight to where we come down for the shoulder slope for the back. And the next thing I'll mark now is my neckline. I'm going to do 3 by 1, 3 on the width and 1 inch for the depth. This is the basic neckline. If you're working with the plus size measurements, do 3.1 by 3.5 by 1 inch and connect from your neckline straight to the shoulder slope like so. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to mark the dart measurement. So for my dart, I'm going to use my ball span. My ball span is 7, so 7 divided by 2 equals to 3.5. So I'm just going to connect that line straight to the chest line like so. So on the chest, on the line for the dart, I'll be taking in half inch for both sides. This is for the dart, so that means the total amount of dart I take in at the back is 1 inch. And after that, I'm going to take the back dart. This will enable the dress to lay flat, or whatever you're making your blouse or your dress, this will enable it to lay flat, and there won't be any folding at the back area. So for me, since this is just like a small size to medium size, you can do half inch. For if you're working with the plus size measurement, please do between 0.75 to 1 inch. This is your back dart. It's going to eliminate any kind of folding at the back area. So I'm just going to go ahead and rule it straight to the neckline. That means if you're taking your measurements now, you won't be starting from the first line. You're going to start the measurement straight from the second line. And for me now, I'm going to be measuring my bust circumference on the chest line. So I won't be starting from the previous line. I'll be starting on this new line that I marked just now. So that's my bust circumference divided by 4 plus 2 inches for that. That's what I marked right there on the chest line. And also on the waistline, I'm starting from that second line. So I'm going to mark quarter of my waist circumference, which is 28 divided by 4 equals to 7. Then I'll add that 1 inch for that I've taken in already. That makes it 8. Then plus 2 inches for the seam allowance. That's 10. So that's what I mark right there on that pattern paper. So I'm going to come to the armhole area to get the midpoint in order to create the armhole curve for me, which I'm just going to mark the midpoint. So after marking the midpoint, I'm going to go in by ½ inch. I didn't measure that, so I'm going to measure that. So going in by ½ inch, this eliminates any kind of folding around your armhole. Once you do this, you won't have any folding around your armhole. So I'm just going to connect it straight down to the chest line like so. And that is our armhole for the back. And that is it. So if you don't want the shoulder princess dart line on the back, just leave your pattern like this. But if you want, yes, you're still going to make more alterations for this. So now the next I'll do is to mark our zipper allowance. I added 1 inch before, but since we've taken in some allowances, we're going to be marking the new zipper allowance right now. So from the new line, just measure 1 inch on the other line like so, in order to take in the allowances that we've taken in already. And that is it. Your line at the back must not be straight, it should bend like this. So once you've taken in your zipper allowance, it's just going to be bent like this. It won't be straight because of the back that is there. So I've labeled that area the zipper allowance. So right now, to create the princess shoulder dart line at the back, just like we did for the front, look for the midpoint around the armhole right there. I'm now marking that already and connect it straight to the chest line like so. And that is all for this. There is no need to open up any darts area. We're still going to open it up later, but there's nothing to be adding. So at the bottom right there, I added ½ inch for the seam allowance there, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the excess paper. So this is our pattern. If you don't want the princess shoulder dart line at the back, you don't need to slash it open, but if you want to slash it open into two like I'm doing right now. So this is it. This is our back pattern, and I'm just going to write this is the center back, this is the side back. So I'm adding the instructions that you're going to cut the side back 2 pieces and also the center back 2 pieces right there. So these are my front pattern, and that is all for our shoulder princess dart style line. This is how you're going to create it. If you want the bust here with the shoulder dart, this is how you're going to create your pattern for this using the bust dart method. So if you've learned new thing here, please kindly subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and also share this video. So thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate you. So catch you in my next tutorial. Bye.